What are your thoughts on sheep, sheepdogs, and the wolves?
Okay. Sheep, sheepdogs, and wolves. Okay. So Lieutenant Colonel Dave Grossman, retired, wrote a book called On Combat. And in that book he tells of a Vietnam veteran that told him a parable, a story, that defines three types of people in the world. The first type of people in the world are sheep. They follow along blindly. They are unaware and even unconcerned of their surroundings, and pretty much just aren't, don't believe that anything bad could happen to them, and they just go about their daily lives, and that's the condition that most people in the world are in. Okay. Then there are the wolves. The wolves are looking for the sheep who are unaware and helpless to take advantage of and destroy. Okay? They're the bad guys in our world, the criminals, the killers, the sociopaths, the psychopaths. Okay? Those are the wolves. And then there's the sheepdog. The sheepdog is that guy that runs towards the fight. He spends every day preparing and itching to get into that fight. Okay? But what a lot of people miss when they read this, and this is a great parable, I love it when it's put in its proper perspective. What most people miss is that this book was written specifically for law enforcement and military. Okay, so what's happened is that mindset, that attitude of the sheepdog has been trickled down into the classrooms, into firearms, by firearms instructors in the classrooms. And it's being presented almost in a way, if you're not willing to run to the gunshots and to put yourself in harm's way, then you're not a sheepdog and you don't have any business carrying a gun. Well, bullshit. Okay? Here's the deal. If you want to look at it as this was being written for first responders, who's the first responder? Who is always the first responder in every critical incident? The person it's happening to, the victim. So if I decide that I am going to take responsibility for my own safety and my own personal defense, and I'm carrying a gun, and I get in a critical incident where I'm attacked by a wolf, I'm the first responder. And by taking responsibility for my own personal defense and being my own first responder, I am a sheepdog. There's no requirement for, in the civilian world, for a person who's actively engaged in their own personal defense to run to the gunshots. That's what we have law enforcement for. Those guys they've chosen to do that, and they're paid to do that. Now, are there civilians out there who will run to the gunshots? Absolutely. Safest place in the world when the crap hits the fan in a shopping mall is going to be right behind me, because I will run to the gunshots. That's how I'm built. But most people aren't built that way. Does that mean they can't be, they can't carry a concealed handgun? Does that mean they can't be actively involved in their own personal defense? Hell no. So the idea that if you're not willing to put your life on the line and engage in a firefight, if you're not willing to do that, you can't be a sheepdog and you shouldn't have a gun, is bogus. Okay? As an American, we all have the responsibility first to make it home at the end of the day. We all have the responsibility to provide for our own personal defense to ensure that we make it home at the end of the day for our families. Then our next responsibility is to provide for the defense of our families. And then our next responsibility as Americans is to provide for the defense of our community. But that doesn't mean that we have to go into harm's way to do it. Does it make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I've been wanting to say that for a while because it just blows my mind. And I love that story of the sheep and the wolves and the sheepdogs, and I think it's great. And I think it illustrates a specific group of people, but it's not everybody. And just because you don't fit into that group of people doesn't mean you shouldn't be engaged in your own personal defense. Okay, so that's all I got to say about that. Give me some comments. Tell me what you think. If you agree, disagree, and be sure to hit that like button. Be sure to share. Be sure to subscribe. All of that good stuff. And thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.